Welcome to this session on creating additional workspaces and worksets. So you may want to create additional workspaces. For instance, you may want a workspace for a particular client if you do multiple projects for the same client, or you might want workspaces per building type. And this will give you a place where you could store standards that are common to a number of projects, but perhaps not all your projects. And then you can group the worksets under the appropriate workspaces. So we'll start by creating an additional workspace. I'm going to go to my W network drive under CE configuration, under my workspaces folder. And so currently I had the XYZ workspace. And we were looking at that as a company workspace that was going to be shared company-wide by all projects. But if you actually want to subdivide those projects into different workspaces, perhaps we look at that XYZ workspace as more of a template, and we'll use that to copy and create additional workspaces. So I'm just going to select both the folder and the config file, and I'll select copy and then paste. And then we simply want to rename the new config file and the folder with the same name. So perhaps this will be client A. So now you have a new workspace for client A. And let's go ahead and expand that. So any standards we wanted for client A would go under the standards folders, and then we would put our workset configurations under the worksets folder. Now we don't need the project 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. But we would keep the project template and then use that to create additional projects or worksets within this workspace. So I'm going to copy the config file. The DGNWS file actually gets generated automatically, so it's best to let that just happen automatically. But I will copy the configuration file and we'll just paste it here. And then we would want to give our workset a name here. So this would be a project belonging to client A, and maybe we'll just call this project 456. And I had made the same changes in this project template that I made in the last session to project 1, 2, 3. In other words, if I open this configuration file in a text editor like Notepad++, we can see we have that variable set TF datasets pointing to the UStation custom configuration and the dataset name of dataset XYZ. So that dataset XYZ is going to be the default dataset. And then I actually have to create the workset folders for project 456. So I'll come over to my P drive and select the same project template folder that I have on the P drive and copy that and paste. And again, we want this folder to have the same name. So this would be project 456. So I've created a new workspace, which we're calling client A. And within that workspace, I've created a new workset for project 456. And I might create additional projects that all belong to that particular client where we want to share some standards. And then we've created the folders and subfolders over on the P drive so we can store the design files, the drawings and the sheets, and any standards for that particular workset. So let's open up OpenBuildings Designer again and see what that looks like. So I'm going to come up to the workspace, pull down, and instead of the XYZ workspace, I'm going to select the client A workspace. And from the worksets pull down, I can select the project I just set up, which is project 456. I'm going to create a new file in that project. Note here that our seed file is now pointing to our dataset XYZ and pointing to the design seed within there. So again, this is now a file that's on my network that I could customize as a company design seed standard. And I'm just going to create model 1 And again, let's open the family and part editor, and we can see now that we have on our P drive, our project 456, and we're looking in the standards folders for parts. For the workspace, we're pointing to client A, to the standards for client A, and then we're pointing to our company dataset XYZ for our company standards. And all of these files are located on our network. Okay, so in the next session, we'll actually take a look at, again, using the Configuration Explorer to redirect those default seed files. So as I pointed out, we were using a seed file that was stored in our company dataset. Perhaps we would prefer to have a seed file that was a standard for this particular client, meaning we wanted to store it in our workspace. So how do we go about redirecting the configurations in order to do that? So we'll take a look at that in the next session.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.